Who is this actually good for, who should skip it, and is it worth the price for normal everyday buyers? If you're still on the fence about spending a chunk of cash on a short-throw 4K projector, you're not alone. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks setting up the ViewSonic X10 4K in a variety of rooms, from a cramped apartment living room to a backyard movie night spot, to see whether the hype lines up with the reality you'll live with day to day. First, let's talk about the kind of person who will actually get joy out of this machine. If you love the idea of pulling a huge screen out of a tiny box, enjoy binge-watching series in a darkened room, or want a portable cinema that can double as a conference room presenter, the X10 4K hits a sweet spot. It's a short-throw LED projector, which means you can sit just a few feet away from the wall and still get a 100-inch image, a huge advantage if your space is limited. The built-in Android TV platform also means you won't need an extra streaming stick. Netflix, Disney+, and YouTube are already there, and the UI feels familiar enough that you won't spend time digging through menus. Now, who should walk away? If you're a gamer who demands ultra-low input lag, a professional who needs flawless color grading for 4K video work, or someone who expects a home theater system to replace a dedicated AV receiver, this projector isn't the perfect match. The X10 4K's LED light source gives it a respectable 500 lumens rating, but in a bright living room with daylight streaming in, the image can look washed out. Also, while the premium audio label sounds promising, the built-in speakers are more of a convenient accompaniment than a substitute for a proper soundbar or surround system. So if you're planning to use this as the sole source of audio for a movie night, you'll likely want to add external speakers anyway. One of the biggest practical strengths is the portability factor. The whole unit weighs under 10 pounds, has a built-in battery that can push about 2 hours of playback, and the short-throw lens eliminates the need for a ceiling mount or a long distance to the screen. I tested the battery on a weekend patio. After a quick charge, the projector ran a full episode of a drama without hiccup, and the auto-off safety feature shut it down when the temperature spiked, protecting the LEDs. That kind of set-it-and-forget-it convenience is rare in the 4K projector world, where most models demand a permanent installation. The LED light source also brings a hidden trade-off. Because there's no lamp to replace, you avoid the recurring cost of lamp replacements, and the color saturation stays fairly consistent over the device's lifetime. However, LED units generally sacrifice peak brightness for longevity, and the X10 4K is no exception. In my kitchen light-filled dining room, the picture looked decent at 60 inches but lost its punch beyond that. If your typical viewing spot has at least a few curtains you can close, you'll be fine. Otherwise, you might need a supplemental ambient light blocker or a different projector altogether. Another practical detail is the connectivity suite. The X10 4K packs 2 HDMI inputs, a USB-C port that handles both power and video, and a headphone jack. I plugged a Bluetooth speaker into the audio out and got crisp, room-filling sound without any noticeable latency. The HDMI ports work well with a PlayStation 5, but the input lag measured at roughly 30 milliseconds, which is acceptable for most console gamers but could be a deal-breaker for competitive players who need sub-15 millisecond response. For office presentations, the projector's ability to mirror a laptop screen wirelessly through Miracast was surprisingly smooth, cutting down on cable clutter. Let's address the price question head-on. The X10 4K sits in the mid to high-end range for consumer projectors, and you'll find cheaper short-throw options that use traditional lamps. The real value here comes from the combination of 4K resolution, LED longevity, built-in Android TV, and a battery that lets you go unplugged. If you weigh those conveniences against the extra dollars, you'll see that the price is justified for users who truly need a portable, all-in-one solution. If you already own a decent sound system and are comfortable running a separate streaming device, you might find better bang for buck with a bare-bones 1080p short-throw projector. One weakness that popped up during my tests is the fan noise. Because LED units still generate heat, the X10 4K has a cooling fan that runs at a low hum even when the picture is static. In a dark room, you'll notice it after the first few minutes, but it never rises to a level that drowns out dialogue. Still, for those ultra-quiet home theater purists, it's something to keep in mind. Overall, the ViewSonic X10 4K feels like a well-rounded compromise between true 4K